Good evening, everybody. I think we're getting everybody in. Thanks for coming and joining us tonight. We have Vanessa Seastrong with us, and I will let her introduce herself in a moment. I want to just reach out and thank DLC 752 and DMV Santa Rosa for allowing me to join their worksite meeting today. We had a great meeting. We talked to a lot of different people. And we signed up 2 new members. So thank you, DMV Santa Rosa. So with that, we're going to talk a little bit about membership tonight, the importance of it, what people think, listen to people's ideas. And Vanessa, I will turn it over to you to introduce yourself.
Well, hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Vanessa Seastrong. I'm the bargaining unit 17 chair, and I'm glad to be here. Hope I can answer all your questions.
So to get started and just sort of roll the topic on, Vanessa, what does membership mean to you?
Being a member to me is that since I started as SEIU, I didn't know when I started in the state, I didn't know that we had a union. So that was something new to me. And when I found out, I was like, okay, well, what is the union supposed to do for me? And, you know, we all ask ourselves that question, what is the union supposed to do for me? You know, they taking this money out. But then I had to learn. It's not what the union can do for me, is what we can do for ourselves and use the union as our tool to help us. And so by me learning, by going to an SBAC, because I was one person who said, hey, you know, look at what Schwarzenegger, this was during Schwarzenegger time. He's taking all these furloughs and everything. What are we doing? What are we doing? And so they sent me to an SBAC, and that's when I got to learn all the ways of SEIU and got thrown into the, what was it? It was an election. So I came in raw, learning it and caught on. And my first question was, what is the union going to do for me when I got there? And they're asking me, well, what are you doing? And that was always the question, what are you doing? And so I said, okay, what am I supposed to be doing? And so that's what I first asked, well, what am I supposed to be doing? And so then they said, well, come, let us train you. And so that's when I learned that I am the union, and what I do in the union makes the difference. I don't look for anybody else to do anything for me in the union other than to train me and give me the tools I need to achieve the goal I'm trying to achieve. So the union to me is like, it's security, it's friendship, it's a family. That's what it became to me, is a family. And it's a tool, a tool to really help others. Now I say others because that's what I do, to help others achieve what they need to achieve in their workplaces while they're working for the state. A long drawn out way of saying it, huh?
Well, thanks. I agree. I think we need less me and more we. And I also see the union as an opportunity for self-improvement, an opportunity for better wages and benefits, protect my health care. Opportunity to have a different kind of a family. So I think the union also offers a lot of opportunity for those who, like yourself, have chosen to grasp onto it. So let's jump right in. And it looks like we have Jenny. Jenny, can you unmute and join us? And what does the union mean to you?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I wasn't expecting to be called on this early. So I don't know, the union to me means protection. It means kind of everybody working together for a common goal for for our rights.
Super. So did you have something else in mind to talk about tonight?
Yeah, this was kind of a continuation from last week's. Um, and so what I had a question with is, I know we're going into contract negotiations coming up. And one of the things that I'm concerned about is that a lot of offices, especially ones in my district, are being, what I would say is critically understaffed. So that's where you have like 30 to 50% of the people that you are supposed to have. And it's being maintained that way for over a year, for long periods of time. And I would like to see if there's some kind of language that maybe could be put into the contract so that that would be, I don't know, mitigated somehow. Because it's frustrating what's happening, at least, and also for morale. Morale is very low in my office because there's no light in the end of the tunnel, just more work.
So what department do you work for?
Rehabilitation.
And where is that located?
My branch is in Concord.
In Concord? Okay, all right. Vanessa, you have anything to respond? You were nodding.
Well, because I know since COVID, we lost a lot of our friends and members due to COVID. They decided to retire or just left. And so in most of the departments are short. And I know the state is trying to do recruitment, but as for us, it's just getting the word out that there's jobs. Because a lot of, they're saying there's no jobs out there. There are jobs still in the state. I know some of them are not, the pay is not what everybody wants, but that's something that the state has to realize. But the one thing is for us, as we can do, is get the word out that there's positions out there in the state, because the state needs help, honestly, as been in meetings with them and how they're dealing with their recruitment. And you know what? Talk to your managers and give them suggestions, because they do need some suggestions. And, our members have good ideas, and share them with your managers to help them recruit people.
Okay. And then another thing that's happening is that because we are so short-staffed, employees that have been out with COVID are being asked to return if they are still being tested as positive, but without symptoms.
And that's
And I'm
another,
wondering how that works.
and that's another thing with us. This is not in my realm, but as the new guidelines with CDPH, and they say after 7 days, you shouldn't be contagious. And so people are in different areas, because some departments, they say you don't come back until after 14 days, but they stop testing you to come back because you will remain positive. You can remain positive up to 90 days. So that's why they let people back, that you don't have symptoms. And at that time, according to CDC, you're not contagious. So that's why they let them back. But that's why it's very important. I tell people, you keep your mask on. You always keep your mask on.
And there's problems all across the state. Oakland State Building is working on a health and safety grievance drive, and is doing a March on the Boss tomorrow, Thursday. And it's actually a bunch of bosses, not just one, with mass grievances, one grievance per person, health and safety, to drive the point home that we're not happy with how the state is handling the workloads, telework, the whole COVID situation. So I hope that At least answers some of your questions, Jenny.
Yeah, because they should still be supplying you the masks and the cleaning some stuff so you can clean your desk in areas. That should still be in effect.
We've
And
only ever gotten one mask, and that was right at the beginning of the pandemic. No other masks have been provided.
they're requiring you guys to come into the office.
Yes.
So that sounds like another opportunity to go down the health and safety grievance path. Let me see if I can reach out to you offline, Jenny.
Okay.
And because this is a longer conversation.
Yes.
Yeah, I did call the union, the member line on Monday, and I'm still waiting to hear back from somebody about my issue then.
Yeah, I have a different idea for you. So I will reach out to you offline. Give me a day or two. But I will follow up with you. You'll hear from me.
And we need to, our members, we need to contact Cal OSHA. Because there's what we call aerosol transmission disease protocol that came up because of COVID, and all the departments are supposed to be following it. In the hospitals, they're more intense, but they're still supposed to supply our members with the protective things that they need, the PPE, the mask. So COVID's still here, so they're still are supposed to be supplying it.
Yeah, so thanks for calling in, Jenny. We'll reach out to you and follow up with you. Good evening, Alex. I hope you can unmute. What does membership mean to you?
Yeah, membership means to me being able to collaborate and just do good things for each other as a group and through numbers, essentially. The difficulty, though, that I see in SEIU is in those numbers, only because the percentages, at least right now, which from my understanding, is less than the historic norms. So I'm hopeful that the numbers can pick back up to give more bargaining power to this union. Though I guess that brings in my concern, which I stated last week, and I just wanted to revisit it quickly because I used the wrong word. I mentioned a recession during the conversation with your guest, and I actually meant to use the word inflation, since the recession isn't actually here. However, the impacts of inflation are here. And I mentioned COLAs and other things as means to get a raise. And not trying to beat a dead horse, but I do recall mentioning that I've heard, at least, and I don't know if it's true, that this union is looking at trying to get a 21% raise. However, I think it would be easier for people in power to pass through as a COLA across the board rather than a raise, because a raise makes it seem like we're getting more than we're getting, when a COLA is putting our purchasing power back to what it was. For example, if $100 bought $100 worth of groceries 5 years ago, and now you need $200 to buy the same amount of groceries, we need a COLA to adjust for that inflation. And I think that's what most of us are struggling with right now, is that loss of purchasing power. We do need raises, definitely, but I think at this moment, the COLAs would probably be beneficial and an easier pill to get approved.
I appreciate that, Alex. And you were heard last week, and this is where Vanessa can shake her head up and down, because this is a conversation that the bargaining teams are having.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yes, we are. And I know
And-
this is the front line, what everybody's asking for. Everybody wants this raise. And I've heard this a couple of times about, the COLA. And I know we had it years ago, and it was taken away with one of the governors, Davis or what was the other one? Can't remember. But we will be, that's why whoever your chair is, I tell people to send your suggestions so that when we get ready for bargaining, we have your suggestions. Make sure you come to the town halls. Make sure you do the survey that we normally do. So because we read every card, we read them all and we go through them and figure out what's number one thing that our members are asking for our bargaining unit. So
Can we
Please.
submit these things online and see like tallies? Like, maybe I'm just not seeing it online on our website, on the SEIU website.
Alex,
Any like public forum where we
Alex,
can like, yeah,
this will be coming. We are working on doing bargaining differently, from all different angles, for what should be obvious reasons, because this is not a closed call. We don't want to put too much out to the world at this point, but you will start seeing some different things and some questionnaires and things happening are geared towards moving towards bargaining very shortly. It will be out over the summer. And we're also, as of yesterday, we have a new arm within the local that's focused at the moment. It's a strategic campaign arm. And it's a group of people solely focused on membership at the moment. And as we develop that group of people and we move forward, they will be able to shift also into doing contract and building power for bargaining. So I'm with you that we need more power. Power is membership. Membership really is everything at the end of the day. And hang with us, watch what we do, not just what we're saying.
okay.
And come back as often as you possibly can to hold us accountable and keep us honest, Alex.
Get prepared to be annoyed with me, Bill, but I
That's
appreciate it.
okay. You're not annoying, all right? Not from my perspective. I'm
Okay, thank you.
glad to have you come visit with us. Thanks.
Thank you, Bill.
Good evening, Jill. Can you unmute and tell us what membership means to you?
Unmute. Let's try this. Hi, Bill.
Hi, Jill.
How's my DLC rhyming name buddy?
I'm doing okay. How's my sturdy as a tree lady?
That's funny, Bill.
Well, hey, come on, I gotta try. It's Wednesday, you know? It's been a long
Hey,
day.
you're right, though. You're right. And so a little bit of background story, everybody. My Native American name is a tree, so that's why he's trying to pick on me and it's not working.
I'm not picking on you.
But you're right. That's my name. Okay.
What does
I'm so used to it now.
union membership mean for you, Jill?
Standing up to a bad boss. That's what that means.
Okay,
Coming from the private sector to state, I've seen the change. It's like a cultural shock. We'll use it that way. I'll clean up my thought process. I promise everybody. But with the union in place versus non-union, you have a bad boss. The steward can come in and say, hello, we're going to do it this way. We're willing to work with you. If you can't do this, this is what's going to happen. You have A or B.
there you go.
Yeah.
So what else did you want to bring up tonight real quick?
Let me, we all love Joanne. I'm still sad. But anyways,
Yes,
the ramifications for doing that, he put on fans. I got fans all the way around me. So he turned off the box, but he turned on the fans.
it just doesn't stop, does it?
No, because he's an entitled idiot.
So are you participating in the March on the Boss tomorrow?
Yes, I am.
Super.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. And that needs to be done because the fact that Tina can work from home and I can't, that says volumes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So anything
So
else
let me
around,
stand up for everybody else.
anything else around building membership or membership tonight?
Actually, I'm working on one guy in our building too, and he's a new guy. And to be honest with you, everything I've thrown at him through IT, he's fixed it. I've given him props already to his boss because I'll be honest with you, he rocks. I'm working on getting him to sign up.
Super.
If anything, he went from the underdog to, oh, somebody gave him a compliment. Well, he deserved the compliment. So, want the truth? You're gonna get it from me. Now let's see if we can sign him up and go from there. But yeah, tomorrow, that's exactly what we're doing.
Great. So anything else before we move on?
We're working on a tabling. You're welcome to join us. I'll send you the invite.
Send me the invite. Hopefully it's
Okay.
on a Wednesday.
It is. It's actually, we're discussing what we're going to do, but there will be flowers. The flowers seem to catch everybody's attention and they come to the table.
All right, super. Hey, thanks for calling in tonight, Jill. We will talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Hi, Kelly. What does membership mean to you? Oh, looks like I lost.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, good. Thank you so much. So essentially, what membership means to me is that it is a unity of mutual support among all of our brothers and sisters in the various departments throughout the state. And as a nurse, also with my brothers and sisters who are RNs. That's what it means to me.
Okay. And what did you call in for tonight?
Well, I did have a couple questions and I think it's a wonderful idea on how we can certainly enhance our membership. And I think this primarily would be addressed to Vanessa. And I just wanted to say that Vanessa, as a bargaining unit 17 chair, which represents all RNs throughout the state of California, if an agreement was reached in bargaining that was essentially just for one aspect of the registered nurses, for example, CDCR, which may enhance a salary adjustment, overtime issues, raises, clothing allowance, and so on. If the bargaining was primarily favoring the CDCR nurses in those specific areas, and if the HFENs, Health Facility Evaluator nurses in CDPH were not included in that particular agreement, I'm just curious, would you sign the document that would essentially not include the rest of the nurses, but CDCR only?
Well, first of all, that uniform allowance, it's not just for CDCR or institution, it depends on the departments and how they, because it's worded of any clothes that you have to wear that you don't normally wear that you have to purchase for the job. And like I brought up to other nurses that, and this has been an argument with CDPH before, as they said, no, these are your regular clothes. But if you're required to wear something different than you are any other time you buy certain clothes, because you have to wear certain clothes to do your job, then they're supposed to refund you your money.
Okay, so is that
And
in the
shoes are
agreement?
included. Shoes are included in that uniform. And how I know it was brought up before, and I don't know if it went to a grievance or not, if the Heffen did file a grievance or not. But until you guys bring it up to them and say, here's the type of clothes I have to purchase because this is what you guys are requiring me to wear, and you submit your receipt and let them tell you, and then let them deny you. And that's
Okay.
how we will address it. Because it doesn't say just CDCR or institutional. That uniform is bargaining unit 17. So
Okay,
it's not limited. So I say if they're requiring you to buy certain clothes and they're telling you you can't come to work with certain clothes, and you have to go purchase different clothes to do this job. I say submit the receipt and let them deny you, and we go from there.
Okay, I understand. Now, just very briefly, I understand that some of that verbiage would need to be in the MOU, and I understand that it's not included for the HFENs, but it is for the CDCR RNs in their contract. And also
no-
along that's, I'm
We
sorry,
don't
go
have a
ahead.
different contract. It's all one contract. There's not a separate one. So I don't understand what you mean by CDCR contract.
Oh, CDCR staff, because they take care of the prisoners and so on. And the CDPH RNs actually go out, as you know, into the facilities where we were all out there in the various facilities, nursing homes during the COVID when it initially broke out, and still currently. And unfortunately, several of my colleagues did die after contracting COVID in their work for the state. And anyways, I just was concerned about that. And also just one
Yes.
more thing briefly, Yvonne Walker indicated in the last bargaining that it would be her personal mission to address the lack of consistency and equality that HFENs had sustained in the last agreements versus that for the CDCR nurses. Can you respond to that at all?
Well, I don't recall what the conversation was, so I really can't, because I don't know what that conversation was. So
Well, I can share with you briefly. Yvonne Walker told Mary Dela Cruz she would make it her own personal mission because Mary was holding out for all RNs to get the same level of compensation. So that's
And
essentially what it
who
was.
was holding out? I don't understand.
Well, you know, everybody has to agree and sign for the contract to be accepted. All the people that are there for the bargaining unit, the representatives, you know how you all sign the paper? Well, Mary refused to sign. And so Yvonne Walker was distressed with her for not wanting to sign, and subsequently came over to her and told her she would make it her personal mission to address the lack of consistency and equality that the HFENs have sustained for years in the next contract. And unfortunately, it's been going on for numerous contracts. I've been with the state myself for 15 years, and it's been going on at least that long.
So
Okay.
please come back and
Yeah.
join us as we move forward with the contract work, engage through the contract department, engage through your DBERS and your chairs so that we get this addressed in the bargaining arena.
Yes, because that whole conversation wasn't all the way true, and it's been taken out of context of where that was.
And,
So that's-
and
So we could
Thank you,
discuss. it.
Bill. I
yeah,
appreciate it.
and we're working to take care of everybody in this next
Perfect.
contract.
Mhm.
And we're working to engage the state differently than we have in the past so that we can be successful.
Excellent.
And it's going to take all of us to be successful. So come back and engage through the bargaining channel and,
Absolutely.
and stay engaged, please.
Absolutely. Yes, I shall. Thank you so much.
Super, thank you. I have the initial S and Sal. So good evening. What does membership mean to you?
Membership means to me having somebody there to have my back, because when I was working for corrections, when I first started for the state, worked in personnel, then went to legal affairs, and just as I was getting ready to leave CDCR and go over to social services, I was being investigated for dereliction of duty, which was complete and utter hogwash. And it turned out that they were incorrect in investigating me. They should have been investigating somebody else. And the union representative that I had my back and basically said, you guys are inviting other people into this interview that you guys never provided us notice for, in complete disregard for your own DOM, their department operating manual and everything else like that. And that's what I tell people, is that the union is there to have your back and to help make sure that you are not unjustly punished or singled out for anything that you haven't done. I have a couple of I have a couple of things. Do we know, because I understand that we finally came to a side letter agreement about the telework stipend. Do we
That-
know when we're going to be getting that money? And the other thing is, under the Public Records Act and other things, how can we find out what's going on in the bargaining? I mean, it's granted, it's a closed door process, but it's the state and our union that's negotiating. And I, for one, want to see the whole picture, not just what the union is putting out and not just what the state is putting out. I want to know everything that's going on. And I would think that the sunshine laws would apply. So how come we can't live stream or record this information so that we can do a PRA request if we have to find out exactly what's going on during the bargaining process?
Okay, so just real quick, if anything's going to be recorded or live streamed, all parties have to agree to it. And the state is not interested in that at all. And then from my 5 years of involvement as a state employee myself, I've always observed that the bargaining team has done its very best to communicate out everything that is appropriate to get out there. Understanding that sometimes they get stuck between a rock and a hard spot with the state, and not everything can go out to the membership right away. But I have seen the chairs work through the Debers and Siebers, through the Stewarts, through the communications department, through texts and other messaging to communicate with the membership at large. So again, I hope you stay engaged with the bargaining group and watch the website as we move forward. We're putting some stuff behind some locked doors so that we can put better information up for members going forward. And so, please stay engaged and watch what we're doing, because we are changing things, hopefully for the better. Good evening, Jennifer. Can you unmute, join us? And what does membership mean to you?
Membership to me means just being backed by the union when we're needed at our work sites. I have been a member of SEIU before when I worked for Kaiser in Pasadena, and I don't feel that my union was backing me when there was an issue that went down. So I was hopefully, when I joined the union for the state, I was hoping that that was all going to change. It seems as it's gotten better, but we'll just wait and see what happens for the next contract.
Okay, I can't hold that against you. So what else did you call in about tonight?
One of my my call is regarding, I got COVID back in December of 2020, and I've asked multiple people, and all I keep getting told is they're behind, they're working on it. So I got COVID back in 2020, still have not gotten any of my sick time back. I'm being told that there's only one person handling it for 100,000 employees, and all employees that are getting COVID now get priority. Now we're going on 2 years in December. My workers' comp was approved in January of 2021. And I'm waiting on 80 hours that I haven't gotten back yet. And I'm not the only person that has been waiting that long for their hours, and we can't get an answer from anybody.
Yeah, this sounds all too familiar to me. Do you know who your labor relations officer is?
I do not. I was working in one office. My manager said that he was speaking to the HR person, being told the same thing, transferred to another office. That manager did check up on it for us, and she's being told the same thing too, that they're just behind, and current cases of COVID are getting priority on getting their workers' comp hours back.
All right, Jennifer. have you opened a grievance case on this with
I
our
have not.
MSC people?
Because I was hoping it wouldn't have to go that far.
What department are you working in?
DMV.
DMV. Okay. Yeah. There's
What office are you in, Jennifer?
Shafter,
Shasta?
Kern County.
Kern County, okay. I don't know, let's see if we can engage. I made a little note tonight. Let's see if we can engage anybody to get this, get some relief on this. We'll work on it a little bit and we'll circle back with you. That's pretty,
as
it's
for
pretty
myself-
frustrating because you're at 2 years now.
Yeah, and as for myself, I have time on the books, so I'm not worried about it. But I know other people that have recently, they're on their second or third time of getting COVID, and they're out of time, even though they're still getting, the ATO or whatever
Sure, it's
that
just,
recently got approved. But if they're longer than that, they're out of time.
it's just not enough. All right, we appreciate your call tonight. Is there anything else we can say to you? Or do
No,
for
that'll
you?
be all.
All right, we'll circle back with you. Hang in there with us.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Sanders. Can you unmute? And what does membership mean to you? I'm stuck. Not working. Sanders, we'll have to come back to you if you can't unmute for some reason, but let's try Erica. Erica, can you unmute and join us?
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. What does membership mean to you?
It means protection, security, solidarity. Basically.
Oh, okay. And why did you call in tonight?
I called in tonight because I'm facing layoff and the department I work for is very large. I don't believe with my level of seniority that I'm actually going to be laid off, but I might be interested in changing jobs, and I believe I'll be put on SROA. And what I've noticed, I've been with the state for 26 years, and I work in the analysts. See, I'm an AGPA, and I'm a disabled employee, and I've been on a reasonable accommodation for 7 years. I've worked from home for 7 years already, and before COVID. It was very hard to get that accommodation. And looking at open positions, what I notice is that a lot of the positions have physical requirements and travel requirements that, in my opinion, are not valid, especially with technology being what it is. And I've seen these it's worded exactly the same way, and it's basically stamped on job bulletin after job bulletin. And I really believe that what it does is, for someone like me, I happen to be in a wheelchair and I'm homebound, but I am a competent analyst who can do my job. I can do all aspects of it. And it discourages, if not bars, people like myself from even applying for those jobs because there is already a bias. And I believe, because I've been in jobs that before I was in a wheelchair that had those same requirements, that said that travel was necessary and lifting a certain amount was necessary, bending, and that was never a part of my job. So I think across state service, there actually needs to be audits of positions, especially those that have those requirements slapped on their job bulletins, because I don't believe that it's true. And I don't believe that with technology being such as it is, and also when you need a reasonable accommodation, you're supposed to be able to go through the interactive process. And in that process, alternatives should be explored and are supposed to be explored, alternate ways of doing the same job. Now, and I have that situation now, but there are people that would exclude me before I could even interview for a position. And I think this is a really serious thing. At my current department, I was on the Disability Advisory Committee, and this is one of the things that we discussed, but it was not, we didn't go any further. I'm no longer on that committee, but it's something that's not just something for a Disability Advisory Committee. It's something that should be, in my opinion, a part of our contract, something that's covered under that contract that protects all people, not just people who are not disabled, because during someone's career, they could become disabled. And just because their abilities change, it doesn't mean they can no longer do their job. There are other ways to accomplish activities, especially when the travel included in a job only has to do with meeting with people. We now have this technology we're using right now, Zoom. We have scanned documents. We have all sorts of ways of achieving the goals of the state. And to me, those job announcements are discriminatory. And it's basically not giving anyone the opportunity to go through the interactive process. So that's.
So let me, I actually appreciate where you're coming from. I've let you go on for a while. And so I have a couple of questions.
Mhm.
What department do you work for?
I work for CDCR.
CDCR. And, okay. And you've been noticed of layoff?
Yes, I work for DJJ.
Okay. Would you reach out to me offline? Use my bhall at seiu1000.org?
Sure.
I'd like to talk with you a little bit longer. And it's probably not appropriate to dig into this on this call.
Sure.
But let's circle back, and I have some other questions for you, Erica.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for calling in. Hang in there, it'll get better.
I know. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Hi, Sanders. Were you able to unmute and come join us?
Yes, hi, it's Sandra.
Oh, I don't have the A in there.
Yes, sorry, I couldn't change my name.
That's okay, Sandra. So what does union membership mean to you?
Well, union membership means to me is the fact that I get to keep my health insurance. Being with the state for 3 years and working in private sector for 25 years, towards the end of my 24 years, they took health insurance away out of nowhere. So being a union member means that will never happen, correct?
Well, that's certainly the work we do. I like my health insurance. I'm working to keep it.
Exactly. And I do have a question in regards, so you met with Gavin Newsom. So I'm just wondering, what was the end result with that, with the essential premium pay?
Okay, so I did briefly spend some time with Gavin. It was simply to reestablish a relationship and begin a process of being able to engage the governor's office between Local 1000 and the governor's office. So that has not progressed further than that. It's a work in progress. And let's just leave it as, it's a productive thing to be able to have a conversation, whether we agree or not. That's besides the point. I tend to try to talk with people that I actually disagree with more than people that I agree with. Although the people I agree with are easier conversations, of course. Essential worker pay, that conversation actually starts with the state tomorrow.
Okay.
Unless something has changed, because there was a late afternoon phone call from the state, and I don't know what the result of that was. But
Okay,
the
so
last I heard, we were gonna start that work at the table around 10 o'clock tomorrow.
that's great to hear. On, if I could just interject another thing, to where I was just wondering, I'm like, I am grateful for the $100 voucher that we get, commuter voucher, but though I was wondering also for people that aren't able to get the commuter voucher, if there's a way to implement, on our bargaining team to go into the next rounds, if actually communicating, maybe getting the state to pay for some of people that park in state buildings for that money to go towards that, or how could we do that? Because I don't think it's fair that people that can't commute, that they shouldn't be able to get something from the state as people that do commute.
Yeah, the state's not exactly what I would call fair.
True.
And parking has always been an issue. The commuter reimbursement has been an issue. I'm sure it will continue to be an issue. And as our purchasing power shrinks, I mean, look, we get 2.5% in July 1, right? And honestly, that's a drop in the bucket at this point.
It is, yes.
So, you know, I mean, the prices of everything are absolutely terrifying. And I say that, and I'm in a better position than many who work for the state. So I'm very grateful for that. But at the same time, I have a lot of compassion for my coworkers and others who are having a truly difficult time. So these are all things that come up every contract. They've already come up towards this contract, and I'm sure they'll be discussed. And as we move forward and as the bargaining teams reach out, please engage with them and share with them so that they have the whole picture of what everybody is interested in. I have a feeling with the amount of drum work we're doing, we may overwhelm them with responses, but that's better than not enough responses. You know, come back, engage with us as we do surveys and interactions and all the other things that go with building towards a contract.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to take a shot at this. So hi, Kira, can you unmute and join us? And what does membership mean to you?
At this point, I'm not really sure. I'm really new to being a member.
Okay, well, welcome, and that's fine. So why did you become a member?
It sounded like it made sense.
It made sense, and hopefully somebody asked you.
Yeah, when I went to my new orientation training, someone came in and basically talked about what the union does, and I was like, okay, well, that makes sense. And
Well, good. How long have you worked for the state?
2 months.
2 months. Well, welcome to state service, and thank you for becoming a member. And why did you call in tonight?
I called in because I had wrote in and someone told me to call in and say that I want to figure out how we get Juneteenth made as a state holiday.
Aren't we working on that? Are we working on the Juneteenth? We're working on the Juneteenth understand that the legislature has to pass a bill
Right.
and the governor has to sign it. But that is something that we're working on and have been working on for a little bit. Now, if you worked for the union as a union employee, you would have Juneteenth off. This year is the first year that it's in their contract. Hopefully the state will follow our lead and try to be the employer that we're trying to be. And some people might disagree with that statement, but I think we're trying to be I think we're trying to be a better employer. So it is something that we're working on.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Good evening, Eileen. Can you unmute and tell us what membership means to you?
Wait, can you see me? Hi, membership. Thank you, Bill.
You're welcome. Glad you're here. How's Virginia?
Huh?
How's Virginia?
Virginia is great, and I just have a hard time. Let me not even comment on that.
Okay, never mind. We'll let that go then.
Let
Tell us what membership means to you.
Membership means to me right now, Bill, is that we are, you have a couple of DLC presidents out here that need the agenda for this upcoming membership meeting that is coming up on the 11th, 12th, and 13th. We need that. I don't think I need to buy that at Kinko's or any other place. And I would hope that you would send that to us for we as presidents could vote on the process that you are trying to achieve.
Oh, Eileen, I was hoping that you called in on something about membership tonight. You were gonna like really give a rah-rah for everybody.
The rah-rah for
didn't you get that electronically?
I got it electronically, but you sending it out, 133 pages, Bill, is a lot of pages to be sent out to presidents to review for this meeting.
I can appreciate that, and
You would send it out to the presidents who are out here in Virginia and the Virginia area.
well, we sent it to everybody's home addresses that we have on file.
Well, as you know, we are not home. We are in Virginia. We are in Virginia on the Atlantic Ocean. We are located on the Pacific Ocean. I would hope that you would send it out to us because I need to read that because there is a lot of things that is good for membership to know that it was what is going on within the executive board with you and everybody else that, we need to, as presidents, we need to vote on.
Absolutely, and I'm hoping that we can get a lot of work accomplished this weekend.
I'm hoping
coming up, and
a lot of pages to print, and I shouldn't have to go to Kinko's to print that out.
okay, and I'm not here tonight to get into a debate around that.
No, not.
Why don't you reach out to me tomorrow morning?
I'm reaching out to you tonight to say, can you send that out to the presidents who are out here in Virginia?
I'm asking you, Eileen, I'm
all the processes that are going on with you over there in California.
I'm asking you to reach out to me in the morning so I can get back with you tomorrow morning.
Out to you tonight.
I understand you are, but this is off topic and we're getting ready to move on. And
okay, within the topic, I don't know what you talked about during the first half of the meeting. I heard that there's stuff going on with COVID. I see that in my DLC 789, there's a whole lot of stuff that's going on with COVID out there. So I don't know what the march on the boss is when we should be taking care of the people, our members who have COVID, who may have died from COVID. I mean, there's stuff that needs to be protected for all members. And I hope that SEIU as a whole can help all members out there. I mean, I know that you signed off.
And I think that's the goal of what we're doing. And the March on the Boss is over 300 health and safety grievances in Oakland because the boss is not willing to discuss or work towards the health and safety of the membership.
Okay, what about the bereavement leave that was signed off just a couple of weeks ago? What is that? Can you advise me what that is all about? The bereavement leave that was signed off by you and Irene, but wasn't signed off by the HR committee? What is that all about?
Again, I think that this is not on topic for tonight. I mean, very simply, very simply, Eileen.
Who died?
Eileen, it is cleanup language that brought our contract language and what the states leave.
Okay, the cleanup language.
It brought the language in the contract and with the state in line with a change in the law.
What type of change in the law brought about death to the people of who we work with?
I don't understand that question. I think you've got the TV on in the background.
No, it's
We'll work on some other stuff. I mean, we'll come back and reach out to me tomorrow and we'll get some other stuff figured out. Hey, thanks and take care of yourself and take care of yourself in Virginia. Good evening, Octavio. How are you tonight? And what does being a member mean to you?
Somebody having my back. When you get involved in the water cooler politics, so to speak.
Okay. And what in particular did you call in about?
What are we working on? I know everybody's talking about colas and raises. What are we doing like for better health? Because I did get the cheaper insurance when I got insurance because I don't go that often to the doctor, but like then you get like a earache and then they send you out to the specialist and like now I'm looking at like $1,000 out of pocket for the year. So like what are we doing to just make even the lower tiers just a little bit better, or even or at least the CDT? And I don't know if it's true. They told me that like you can get an FSA card with the Flex program we have, but like as far as I know, you have to submit papers to even get reimbursed for a copay, and I'd like to see like a FSA card come as a benefit.
Oh, that's an interesting idea. I haven't heard anybody ask for that. Vanessa, do you understand what he's talking about?
No, I was gonna ask, what card?
So at my last job, we had a flexible spending account that was tied to an actual card that I could just, run at the doctor's office whenever I had to go for a copay. And then as far as I know, like the flex spending account that we get right now, you have to submit paperwork to be able to get reimbursed, as opposed to like, just having a deduction from your paycheck and then getting a card.
Because I know with us, the state would pay 80% of your medical and we have to pay 20%.
Yeah, he's talking about having the medical savings account, the set aside money.
Like the unreimbursed medical.
Right. So you can have money set aside out of your check that's not taxed.
Oh, the flex.
It's a form of flex.
That for instance, I have, of course, $50 out of my check every month for my medical that I pay through the, year. And then at the end of the year, I send the flex pay my bills and they reimburse me that money that they taken out pre-tax.
Right.
Yes.
So his question.
But I'm saying you have to submit that paperwork as opposed to just having a card and they can just deduct it like when you go pick up your medicine. You know what I'm saying? That comes out of that flex account.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. And that's something they had to bring up with the state being how they call it, antiquated, that they're not up to par with that. I know that was one issue we brought up in last bargaining about, having them cards instead of doing everything paper. So that's another thing we could bring up in bargaining.
Well, it's kind of a conundrum to me. I can get my pay stub electronically, but I can't get other things electronically. I don't know. It seems weird to me. But thank you for your time.
I know it's our employer can be extremely frustrating at times to work with, as well as work for. I can't get my mouse to work tonight. Hi, Elizabeth. Can you unmute and tell us what membership means to you?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. I'm Elizabeth. I'm a museum technician in Monterey. Membership to me, honestly, it's a lot of things. In some ways, it's a continuation. Unions have done a lot for the people in this country. My mom's a teacher. She's part of the teachers union. I remember when they were striking in Fresno, she made a point to sit down with us and talk about like why she wasn't going to work and how she wasn't going to cross the picket line and all that other stuff. So when I joined with the state and I found out that there was a union that I could join, I signed up because it's kind of what you do. If you don't stand together, then you're going to fall separately,
Okay, appreciate that. Sounds like your mom was a great human being.
She is. She just retired after 36 years.
Wow.
But yeah, so I had a couple of questions that probably can be answered by my direct labor representative, but I'm having a difficult time figuring out who that is and how to get in contact with them. So if because I'm having trouble navigating the website maybe, but I'm just trying to figure out who to talk to specifically about issues in my district at Monterey.
Okay, so I can appreciate that you have difficulty navigating the website because I do too. And there's somebody sitting about 15 feet away from me who is engaged on fixing that. And we're working on it. So have you called the MRC number, the 866 number?
I've sent an email, but I haven't gotten anything back. I've sent a couple emails, but I'm not sure if it's going to the right place or not.
Okay, and so who did you send the email to?
Just the email address that was on the site. Under the contact us.
Contact us. That might not be the right place. So
the general SEIU1000.org.
Yeah, that might not be the right place. So
Call the 866.
So okay, Vanessa, what's the 866 number?
Oh, 866-471-7348.
There you go.
Call the 866 number and they will send a message to your rep that has your area.
Okay.
Yeah, and they will contact you and make sure you get their name. And so, if they don't contact you, you call back and say, this person hadn't called me. So you already have the name.
And then
but give them 48 hours at least to call back.
Another option for you, Elizabeth, is if you go on the website and you go into the DLC map area, I believe you should be able to see who your local representatives are.
Okay.
So you could reach out to your president or your chief steward and get some assistance for who is in your particular region that could help you locally.
Okay, that makes sense. And then I also had a couple of questions. So I noticed on the site that there is a scholarship for college students, and I was wondering if that was applicable only for people recently graduated from high school going into their freshman year, or if I, as an incoming graduate level student, could access that fund also.
I do not have an answer for that question.
Okay.
We have multiple
Um,
scholarships. There's multiple ones, so call them, Marcy.
So I can give you somebody who could probably help you.
Okay.
So I think it would be Sarah. Actually, all right. So I'm going to give you a different. Reach out to B Nash, Nash, at SEIU1000.org. And Brian will either reach back to you directly or he will connect you with the right person to answer that question.
Cool. Yeah, because all of the past recipients seem to be, people leaving high school and going into their freshman year. And I'm over here like, grad school is expensive.
Grad school is expensive. I can appreciate that. And we have some other things, some apprenticeship work and some other things out there that we're working on expanding. I don't know if any of those would be available to you today. This is a really complex area.
Yeah, definitely.
We had Sarah on a couple of weeks ago talking about the apprenticeship program and some of the things that were available. So we're trying to expand and make more opportunity for people to continue their education.
Yeah.
But I can say I'm 100% certain that if you reach out to Brian, he'll reach back to you.
Fair. Yeah, no, a master's is just kind of the next step because they've started requiring it for the curator 2 position. Well, not requiring, but it's in their additional things that they're looking for. The requirement, I believe, is still for a bachelor's. And that's still a step ahead of me. But if I want to continue with the state and actually get paid something of a livable wage, I'm going to have to get up the ladder a little bit.
I understand, especially in Monterey.
Yeah, no, the cost of living here is crazy. And then also that kind of leads me into, so I know that you guys have been negotiating a pay increase, and I don't really 100% understand the difference that you guys were talking about between the two options earlier. But is there going to be any flexibility in terms of cost of living, depending on the area? Because living in Visalia versus Monterey versus North Fork is gonna look really different. And while we have a flat, you've been here so many years, so you get this amount, like seems equal on the surface, it's not really equitable, if you understand what I'm saying.
I do. So there may be, actually, somebody texted me, my excellent executive assistant texted me and said that there's a Lenora Hill scholarship that might be available to you.
Oh, okay.
So let us circle back with you offline.
Okay, no worries.
Reach out to Brian, please.
Okay.
And we will see what we can hook you up with. And then the other piece of information for everybody is when we go back to Juneteenth, it's AB 1655. It's a bill that we're watching, following, and working on and supporting through the state legislature for Juneteenth. Elizabeth, if you don't get some assistance, come back and talk to us so we can hold others accountable.
No worries. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
You as well.
I have Jay Pick. Can you unmute, join us and tell us what membership means to you?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, great. Thank you for this forum. Anyway, Yes, membership is, protection
Okay,
and against unfair practices, especially, management. Anyway, pretty much protection. And hopefully, sorry about the airplane. Sorry, the more of us who speaks up and the more voice we have, and thank you for this, so we could voice out our opinions and whatever we need to voice out.
there you go. So why did you call in tonight?
Yes, I'm just wondering why other agencies are allowed to telework. Actually, CDCR, we still have 2 days of telework, but whenever there's an outbreak, seems like we're still on site. They are concerned about protecting the inmates and us, then allow us to telework more, and especially gas prices, kind of like a win-win situation, whether, if we telework more, then we have, then we don't need to, consume gas, and then it helps the environment too. So it's like it doesn't make sense for CDCR to bring us in when what is the point? You don't see us anyway. My office is way in the boonies. Um, so it's just weird that we're being not allowed to telework more and being brought on site when we have done our work about a year and a half, almost a year and a half, teleworking. So
I
I just don't,
understand.
yeah.
And not all departments are allowing people to continue to telework. I saw a notice today that another department in Oakland is requiring your employees to be in the office a minimum of 3 days a week effective July 1. I work at Caltrans when I'm on the state job, and they had people return to the office 3 days a week. That didn't work out. The building is in outbreak mode, and they had to send everybody home to try to intervene with the outbreak mode of COVID in the building. And I mean, we were getting 3 and 4 notices a day. It was pretty serious. So, sometimes the employer does what the employer does, and we don't agree with it. And obviously you don't agree with it, but what makes no sense to us maybe makes sense to them. I'm kind of at a loss at some of the behavior of various departments, not just CDCR, but many other FTB and other departments as well. So it's kind of a cross-state service. And I think a piece of the puzzle is, if you're a boss, you need somebody to boss around so that you can feel like a boss. I mean, there's just a piece of this that they're going to do what they're going to do. And it's our job to push back. So if it's a really major problem, or if there are a lot of people who are engaged, I encourage people to go down the health and safety grievance path. And the more of those you can do, the bigger the impact it has on the manager, because those have to be answered in 14 days. So it can be a pretty effective tool. I hope that helps.
And the health and safety grievance, where do you file that?
So if you need help with that, a steward at your work site would be a good place to start. Another piece of assistance you could get would be from the MRC, right? So you can call in and get some assistance with the health and safety grievance. Some of the grievances, we have templates that you can just fill in your information. And a steward can help you start the grievance process, have the informal with the manager, get the manager's take on it, and more than likely elevate it. That's typically the way these things are going lately.
The MRC, also, we don't have any current list of stewards in our department. So we just don't know where to get them, where to ask them. I wish there was like a board or on the website. Hey, this is your steward.
So which facility do you work in?
RJ Donovan.
RJ Donovan?
We're afraid of, call it retaliation or whatever.
Sure, I mean, I understand.
Yeah.
So listen, why don't we take this offline? Reach out to me at your convenience. Email me at bhall@sciu1000.org.
And you
And-
MRC, because I know her name is Karen, the rep that's for Jay Donovan. So if you call the MRC, they can give you the rep or the stewards.
What's the MRC? What this?
The
Member Research Center.
Oh,
Our
okay.
866 number.
Let me see.
866-471-7348. And that's a good resource number for a lot of your questions. And they can reach out. I know as a steward, they have located me for members that needed to find me. There's when I was still working at my job, and they would call me on my cell and say, hey, there's a member that needs to talk to you. So our MRC is Member Research Center is a good resource that you can get a lot of information from them. And when you're trying to find certain people or who could help you with this, that's a good place to start. A very
Okay.
good place to start.
Okay, I got the number, but I also for the teleworking, the amount or the stipend, I get confused. Is it those who are 100% teleworking will get $100, and those who are partial teleworking will only get 50, or what's?
No, it's partial is 50, full-time is 50, 25 is partial.
Oh, 25.
And so, and if you
Shouldn't that
don't
be the
have,
other way around? Sorry.
if you don't have a telework agreement on file, you will not receive it. So for, like you were saying, they don't let you telework. Well, if you were teleworking, make sure you fill out the telework agreement.
Yeah, we have that.
And then let them deny you. And then they have to give the reason why they're denying you your telework.
Oh, I
And
still
then writing.
appreciate that we have 2 days, but except that when there's an outbreak, we feel like, why are we here? So, so it's just that, just confusing, like, aren't we helping the state if we're more at home, So,
Sure.
and I hope it would be
Our
on the
24-hour
next agreement.
facilities are not trying to let our people go. They say they need you there.
I know.
You're hearing that a lot. They don't want to let us go in any of the 24-hour facilities.
Hey, thanks. We're going to try to get another call in tonight.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate you calling in tonight. Good evening, Roxy. Can you unmute and tell us what membership means to you?
Membership to me should be a voice when your voice is a little cracked. It's my left arm. It's a true investment that you hope to get a dividend on at some point. That's what membership is.
Okay. So why did you call in tonight?
I called in tonight regarding COVID. So our office at this moment is in outbreak status. I was informed today that they no longer sanitize anymore. I was also it's starting to frustrate me. The office knew that the people were positive before we got notice. The notices always seem to come out at the end of the day. I don't understand that. I don't understand this whole thing as far as keeping myself safe, keeping others safe. Why are people coming to work, which I know you can't answer, but why are people coming to work knowing they're ill?
Yeah, I have that same grumbling and gripe myself and same complaint. And I appreciate that thinking. So how many people are in your work site?
I think 70, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, and are they all at work every day?
Yeah,
Okay, so I'm gonna go back to, I'm really in favor of job actions that cause the boss grief. They seem to be the most effective way to solve the problems. So I'm gonna go back to health and safety grievance. The action that they're doing in Oakland, they created a blanket grievance that the members could just fill out their name, their basic information, the manager's name, and each member did a separate grievance. So they didn't do one for the whole office. They did one per person, so that the managers have to answer each and every grievance, and a safety grievance requires a 14-day answer, or it's automatically elevated. So that's a tool to bring management to become much more aware of your issues, your complaints, which a complaint is the wrong word, because I think your concerns are valid. I have the same concerns. And we're not done with COVID. So, or maybe I should say COVID's not done with us. And, it is serious. And I don't know why our coworkers come to work when they're sick, when there's sick leave and vacation time, et cetera.
well, I do know, I will answer part of that. Those who wish to promote are somewhat being, you know what, I don't play like that. They're being threatened as far as the silent interview. So they would rather come to work in order to promote or to get where they want to go, which, okay. But it's kind of me, I work for DMV. Let me put that out there. We are the bottom of the scum bucket. We always have been.
I was at DMV today.
I'm sorry.
You get treated really poorly.
Yeah.
And really, you're one of the money makers for the state.
And they call us cashiers. So I'm frustrated because I became a steward again. I've been with the state for 22 years. I became a steward again because in the beginning, we were on the track of at least presenting ourselves to show the workers that, hey, the union's got you. Even if we can't give you what you want, we're here to listen. And DMV has fallen off the map again. What happened?
Well, I think there was, let's just say that there was a hiccup. You're not off of the bargaining team's map, I can assure you of that. The heat team kind of got into a little stumbling block arena. And we're in the process of sort of reorganizing and revamping the whole field program across the whole organization. The DMV team is being restructured to work regionally so that there's less travel, and hopefully they can build relationships and be as effective or more effective than they were in the past. And DMV as a collective whole has high membership and has been very unified. The DMV I visited today in Santa Rosa had 83% membership when I got there, and we got 2 of the 5 non-members to sign membership cards today. So, I think you're doing a lot to help yourselves. And, I'm making Vanessa choke, I think. Look, let's work together and let's have more we so that we all do better.
And I get that. But when you say we, I'm a steward. I'm also I guess I'm in the intro of this DMV. We're not going to say heat because I think they're changing the name. But what do I tell my coworkers? What do I tell them when they see what they see? And I'm not going to go into that. I'm sure you know. But it's, what do you tell them?
Well, tell them that the leadership of Local 1000 is engaged in doing better. We have help from many sources to help us improve and fix problems. The International is investing over $1 million in resources back into Local 1000 over the next 6 months. And we are going to overcome, and we're going to be more successful in the future. I mean, we, as far as I can see it, and I think Vanessa will agree with me because we've had this conversation, there is no other choice. I mean, we have to do better.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, Roxy, thank you. With that, I still have a whole lot of hands. I'm going to apologize. It's 8:04, 8:05. I have a commitment to my IT support team not to keep them late at night because they do have a life and they have family obligations. So with that said, thank you for joining us. Thank you, Vanessa. And we will be back next week. And we will continue our weekly discussions. So thank you, everybody, and we'll see you soon. Take care and have a good night.